What's good, my peoples? Habits. Habits, 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 habits. We all have habits. We all have so many different habits. A lot of times we only focus on the bigger habits, the main habits, because those are the ones that's normally right in our face when they do happen. But all the smaller habits that are creating that snowball, we tend to ignore them because we don't think they have a real meaning, a true effect on our daily life or our future life. But really, those are the habits that are creating the world that you live in. They are creating your lifestyle. So you want to start to understand the smaller things, not the big things. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, you do need to address the big things as well. But if you get the smaller things under control and start understanding them, you will already understand the big things when they do happen or why they happen because you are in control. You are in the driver's seat. You are creating the moments that are happening in your life because you are understanding the smaller habits. You are understanding the habit connectors and how they lead to everything that you experience, everything that happens. A lot of times we just get caught up and we just don't realize how important the little things are because we always think big because that is the world that we live in. Go big or go home, right? If you're not thinking big, then you're not thinking big enough. You need to continue just to think big, think big. But in order to grow, in order to become big, you have to start somewhere, right? You don't just start big. A snowball that you start rolling up doesn't all of a sudden, it's just not this big old snowball, right? It takes time to develop. It takes time to turn it into what you want to turn it into. So we must realize that it starts small and it becomes big. And if you want it to become positive, when it do becomes big and not negative when it do becomes big, then you must understand what is going on. It's that simple. We tend to make things so complicated because that is what we know. That is what we do. That is who we are about. We have to start shifting ourselves in order to really grow. We become stagnant or we don't even move at all because change is frowned upon. We love to get in our comfort zone. We love to just do what we do. And there's nothing wrong with that because I'm a strong believer that you do not have to change anything in the beginning. Anything. You eat what you want to eat. You work out how you want to work out. You spend money on whatever you want to spend money on. But at some point, when you start to understand things, it's going to be organic, natural growth that happens. It's not going to even feel like you changing anything because it's just going to happen. But the thing is, the difference between it just happening and understanding and the happening and not understanding is huge. Because when things just happen and you don't understand them, then you don't know where the growth came from. How do you continue to grow? Because you never really had a plan. You never really had a process. It just happened. Because I know in my life, it has happened a lot where things just happen. And I'm just like, oh, I'm going to take it with stride. Kudos. Good job. Yes. Right? But then as time goes on, it's like, okay, how do I get that back? Where did that come from? Like, I don't know where to start. And we are confused and we are almost taken back. And we do get taken back because we start to backtrack now, right? right? It's just like if you put something together, like say a project, like you go get some from IKEA. We've always got some from IKEA or Walmart or Target or wherever, a hardware store. You buy some. You don't read the instructions. You start putting it together, right? And you're like, okay, it fit. Put it together. Boom. And then all of a sudden you get to a certain part and you're like, I did that wrong. I did that wrong. I got to take it back apart in order to do it right. Sometimes people just let it stay like that. They're like, well, who gonna know? And then over time, things can go wrong. So majority of us will just go back, eat it, and then redo it. It's the same thing with life. We take those shortcuts, or it just happens and we don't understand it, and then we end up backtracking to try to understand, to create that positive, that happiness that we are seeking, because we know it's there. We know we have experienced it, but we just don't know how it happened. So when we can just always say, get back to the basics and just simplify things. Kiss it, kiss it, kiss it, kiss it. Keep it super simple. I'm telling you, it's not really hard to start to understand things. It's just a matter of observing and putting it up here and just letting it sit and marinate. And they always say, repetition, repetition, repetition. That is so true. Just continue to do it. Because when you do, then you continue to think about it, and then you continue to understand it. But if you do something one time or two times or three times, it's going to be hard to understand it. But when you are constantly doing something, you are going to start to understand what you are doing. And you are going to become so much better at what you are doing. Why do we not do that for our lifestyle? Why do we just continue to go through our lifestyle with no tune-ups, no gas in the tank a lot of times, like we all need maintenance. We all must maintenance things to understand our growth. Because you down here and then you get up here and you're like, oh, now I'm going to turn the lights off. Now I'm just going to walk in the dark. Why? Why? Because you don't need to. Because when you develop that process early and you follow through with that plan, it's so much easier to understand everything that's happening in your life. All the little things. You just like, oh, okay, I get it. The big things, I get it. We have to start understanding what is going on in our life, just like we do everything else. All these material things. I got this pair of shoes. I know everything about them. I'm gonna keep them clean because I don't want no scuffs on them. That dress. Oh my goodness, that was that was that thing. That was that. Whoever. I'm not into fashion like that, so I don't really know any names. Michael Kors. I believe I said that right. Anyways, who cares? But we tend to understand that stuff. We go on Amazon or Wayfair, and we do all the research and we find out all this stuff. But when it comes to our life, we just float. We just let it happen. Our car, we take it to get an oil change. We take it to go get gas. We do a car wash the windshield, the windows. We do all that stuff. We maintenance everything. But when it comes to us, we do not maintenance ourselves. Why not? You are the most important thing. So why wouldn't you treat yourself like the most important thing? We need to start to understand what we are doing, and it starts with the small things that leads up to the big things. And when we can really start capturing that whole picture and really start to understand the habits in our life and what they are doing for us on a positive note and a negative note, we are going to be so much better off moving forward. Start understanding to create what you want to create, because it's going to free up so much time to become who you want to become, because we all want to be great. So it all starts with understanding of you, who you are, what is your surroundings. And when you can figure that out, the sky's the limit, man. The sky is the limit. You will become great. You will become who you want to become. But you must start in order to discover it.